Hello, loved ones. This is Matt Stevens, and I hope you're doing fantastic. I am. In fact, I'm going to believe enough for you that you're doing fantastic. I'm going to believe it enough for both of us. So there you go. And also, I'm remembering to ask for likes and subscribes and all of that good stuff at the beginning of the video because I always just kind of get on here and just kind of get to it. You know, I'm already kind of dialed in and ready to present what I have been looking into recently. But it is recommended to ask for subscriptions and likes and all that good stuff at the beginning. So here we go. I did. And if you feel inspired to do so, please do. And I would greatly appreciate it. In my last video, I was talking about the simulacrum and how it is a word that is not really well known. I mean, it's becoming more mainstream. It's actually an old word. It was a 16th century Latin word. And Jean Baudrillard, back in 1981, came up with a theory about it. And that's when that is more of a modern reference to the word simulacrum. Also, Jason Brashears on the Archaix channel, he uses the word when he uses the word simulacrum, referring to this construct that we live in, meaning it is a copy of a real realm outside of this that we are jacked into these avatars, these bodies, whatever, for the purpose of having an experience, to learn something, to gain knowledge, wisdom, whatever. Another person is Howdie Mickoski, but I think I've been told that the proper pronunciation is Mickoski. That's fine. But Howdie Mickoski has also used the word a lot, referring to reality and our perception of it. Now, the definition, again, of simulacrum is it is an image or representation of someone or something, and also it is an unsatisfactory imitation or substitute of something. Jean Baudrillard said that a simulacrum no longer refers to any original reality, but it functions as reality in its own right. It is something that replaces reality with its representation. Now, there's 4 levels to simulacrum. Level 1 is probably the obvious one. And like I said, we are referring to this in how we perceive reality, this construct that we live in. Level 1, the symbols accurately describe reality. In other words, at level 1, everything is as it should be. Everything is a good copy. Everything looks like it was just like what it was modeled after. Okay, well, that's easy enough. And some examples of that, still in my notes. It is a representation as a reflection of reality. And there's that. So, level 2, symbols begin to inaccurately describe reality. What that means is it begins to a masking or perversion of reality. The representation of the reality that was originally put forth it becomes distorted. It becomes not like it originally was. Things that were considered to be natural are not so much natural anymore, or things that were considered unnatural are now natural. For example, altered versions of, well, I hate to say it, but altered versions of people, where people are making a lot of changes to their bodies and things like that. And it is being put forth as that is attractive and that is real. Now, we're kind of in the midst of that right now. So there are those of us who look at those things and think, wow, that looks really fake or really plastic. But that's because we are in the midst of it. But there's also the quickening effect, which I'm going to get into in just a minute. But let's go ahead and finish up with the levels. Level 3, the symbols claim to describe reality. And that's when the symbols that inaccurately describe it, now the symbols are claiming this is real. Like in the case of people doing unnatural things to themselves to appear to be more attractive or whatever the case may be. In those cases, now those symbols are going to present themselves and say, this is real. This is reality. This is what is real. Now, there are going to be a lot of us who are, I guess, maybe old school or awakened, who are going to kind of be like, no, that's not it at all. Some other examples of that could be Mandela Effect, which I'm kind of, I don't know how to feel about that. I've got other thoughts on Mandela Effect, and I don't think that Mandela Effect is really debatable anymore. There's so many examples of it that it's really just, it is a thing. But during this quickening time, I guess, I really call it more of a speeding up, but what is more commonly accepted is that what we refer to it as a quickening, where time seems to be speeding up and the changes that are occurring seem to be coming much more rapidly. Example of that would be for thousands upon thousands of years, humanity pretty much stayed, as far as human evolution is concerned, pretty much stayed, I mean, sure, they invented the wheel and things like that and tamed animals and began agriculture and whatever else. But just in the last 200 years, things have gone, well, as Jason Brashears puts it, from horse and buggy to Hadron Collider in a very short amount of time. And that is a quickening effect. And most people will even tell you, probably yourself included, that everything seems to be moving so fast. Time just seems to be flying by. And that is always, of course, a matter of perception. But our perceived time is speeding up tremendously, actually. Anyway, the level 3 symbols claim to describe reality, and examples of that will be virtual worlds, social media personalities, and in a lot of cases we don't even know if they're even real. There have been cases where there was a completely AI generated person. There was that model, I think it was on Instagram, and this person was never real. It was an AI generated person. This person would post photos, living her life, and just everything a real person would do. But it was not even a real person. Those are representations that do not even exist. So virtual worlds, social media persons, and these things exist independently of any real life counterparts becoming accepted as reality. Meaning, like that in the case of the model who had the Instagram account. That Instagram account became more popular with far more subscribers or whatever after it was, I guess, outed as being fake. That shows you where the masses, society, or the collective as a whole, has basically abandoned reality, has abandoned what we would call real, and is accepting fake, and gladly doing so. Anyway, moving on to level 4. At level 4, in our perceived reality, symbols no longer claim to describe reality. In other words, that's when it is something that replaces reality with its own representations. Meaning, at that point, reality says, this is reality. That reality that you may remember, you awakened person, that doesn't exist. That never existed, and that's just a false memory you have. Hello, Mandela Effect. Now, I do have other thoughts on what the Mandela Effect could possibly be. It has been put forward that it may be our creator, our oversoul, trying to wake us up, trying to change things, because there have never been any cases of Mandela Effect harming anyone. It just seems to be something that's supposed to get your attention and make you start questioning reality. Again, hello, Mandela Effect. So, those of us who are questioning reality, those of us who are looking at the world and thinking, none of this makes sense. Those of us who could maybe go back 30 years if you're old enough and grab yourself from 30 years ago and bring that version of yourself to now and show that self, this is reality in 2024, 2025. You may have a hard time believing that. You may think, really? Because this doesn't look real. People look fake. Everything seems to be imitation. And also, within my own lifetime, we could probably go 30 years ahead. And how are things going to be different then than they are now? Probably a lot. I mean, we could speculate. But then again, back in the 80s, we speculated that by the year 2000, we were going to have flying cars. Well, I'm still looking for my flying car. Yeah. But anyway, so what we speculate can be, who knows? And then with the metaverse and all of those things like that coming on, who are going, I guess it should be, who are going to be those who immerse themselves in that and accept that as their reality? It has already been speculated that there's going to be property bought and sold in the metaverse. And as absurd as that may sound, think about it. How many things now would have sounded absurd 30 years ago? Right? So, as absurd as that may sound, and it definitely sounds absurd. It may not be that absurd 20 or 30 years from now. It may be much sooner than that. But anyway, loved ones, that's what I got. And it's like, what's your purpose of all this, Matt? I thought you did more spiritual stuff. I do. And I do believe that this is very much a spiritual topic. And that there are those of us in this construct that are in a spiritual awakening. And then there are those who are very much asleep. And then there are a lot of those who are in a spiritual awakening who have realized, wow, this is a lot. I wish I could just go back to sleep. And yeah, I mean, that's happening with a lot of people. Unfortunately, once you're here, you're here. So anyway, yes, I believe that this is bringing us to what some people would call a split. A lot of the people in the metaphysical woo-woo side of things think that there's going to be an ascension moment where those of us who are in our spiritual awakening are going to ascend to 5D, and we're going to leave behind all the rest in 3D and all that. I mean, sure, okay, but really, that may be somewhat of the case, but I think it's more along the lines of there are going to be those who reject the simulacrum. There are going to be those who reject the imitation. And then there are going to be those who go along with it. And there's that. And with the layers upon layers of reality, yes, I will always maintain that the creator had the I am moment, became aware of its existence, and began creating. And then there are many, many layers upon layers upon layers of reality. Spiritual realities, mental creations, which is what the construct is, what the universe is, a mental creation inside the mind of the all. But then, and then buried in those layers could be more mental creations, more mental realities, maybe even virtual computer just kind of buried in that. That's something we can speculate about at another time. But how does all this work? Or what does all this matter to us? It matters because we are here and things are getting weirder and weirder by the day. And we've got to realize that no matter how weird it may get, we are still divine spark of the Creator. You are still an amazing creator in your own right. So there's that. And I'm going to get more into all of this because, I mean, it's a lot. It really is. And we're going to get more into it. I appreciate you sticking with me here. If you would, again, since I remembered to do it at the beginning of the video, if you would, please like and subscribe and share and all that good stuff. And if you want to, let me know what you think of what I'm saying. And if there's something that I've missed, if there's something that I haven't really touched on, that's like, hey, Matt, that was a decent point, but you really kind of should have went a little more into it. That'd be great. Let me know. Anyway, loved ones, please like, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff. I do love you. I do. And I will be back directly.